Hello and welcome to an F1 2013 League Race Highlights video with me, Xephyr. This race is an Apex Racing League, or Apex Online Racing League race as it's now known. It's, I think, round 10. We're in Belgium at the circuit Spa-Francorchamps. The qualifying session, as you can see, is clear weather. The race, however, is 100% rain, so everyone's put the option tyres on in order to try and get as quick a time as possible and get as far ahead on the grid as possible for the wet weather conditions. I've done quite a lot of practice sessions, maybe 6 to 7 practice qualifying sessions, all of them on the primes. So I'm not used to the option grip. As you'll see, I underestimate the grip for some corners, overestimate it for others. I end up cutting some corners, missing the apex on others. It's not the best lap at all. There you go, huge cut. My personal best on the primes is a 45.6, which is only just about a second slower than Alex's quickest time on the options. So I'm very confident that this track only sets a 45.0. So with the 45.6 personal best on primes, ideally I'd be looking to get 45.2, 45.3 on the options. As we see that I slide through that corner, it's not going to help me at all, but I am a second up on my previous time of a 47.0, as Alex sets a 44.7, 2/10 off his personal best. Nice and consistent from him. We're going to see what kind of time I can get. It's looking like it's going to be a good half second slower than my personal best on the primes. Considering this is on options, that's definitely not as good as I could have done. Here we are, brake far too early for the final corner. Compromised our line through, and they've got a huge oversteer on the exit. And we're going to cross the line with a 1:46.1. Whole half a second slower than my personal best on the prime tyres. And there you go, qualified 8th, just in front of my teammate Raiden. My personal best would have got me, if we look at that, it would have got me 6th place. It's very unfortunate from me then. But 8th is okay. I'm feeling fairly confident at this track, but I know that Fake Ghost, Smuffler, Raiden are all quicker drivers than me. So, we'll see how I get on in the race. And we're on the grid. Good luck. No one's disconnected, still got 11 drivers. And got Raiden behind us. Everyone's on the wet tyres, you can see the conditions are absolutely awful. Doesn't look like we've got the greatest start, obviously when controller. It's difficult to minimise wheel spin if you don't get the kind of gradual input that the people on wheels get. We're going to go around the outside. Chicane here, who's lost a little bit of speed there, bumping into the back of him, and Smuffler's gone right around the outside of all of us. It looked like he had brilliant traction there. I think he is clearly very good in wet conditions. So we tuck in behind Granu. Can't see us a thing. Completely underestimated the apex, or the turning required for that corner. Got a little bit of slipstream from Granny maybe. I left my setup for this race. I left it the same as my dry setup, so I'm using 1/1 wings, fairly low suspension, ride height. So I am going to be sliding around a little bit, aquaplaning in the water because of the ride height, and I'm not going to have as much grip as people on the higher wings. Like some people use like 4/4 wings. I was on 1/1. People on 4/4 wings said that they didn't prefer it. They would have preferred to use 1/1. I personally would have preferred to use higher wings, simply because I was sliding around a lot during this race. But as you can see here, can't see a single thing, just relying on the flashing lights. And now I've lost a lot of speed, tapping into the back of Granny, who didn't get a very good exit. Looks like he's going to have a look up a Smuffler, but that gives us the chance to look up the inside. Going to back out, make sure there's no contact. We definitely don't want to turn one incident on our hands. We're going to try and get the cut back on Granny. It doesn't look like we've got good enough traction to do that though, so we're going to tuck in behind, brake nice and early, follow the flashing red light through the mist. It looks like we've got a great exit here. We're going to try and get the inside. Oh, we just tapped the back of him, lost a lot of our momentum. That's very unfortunate, because I think with the traction that we had, we could be right on the back of Smuffler's car at the moment. That's very unfortunate. Can't see a single thing, turned in far too late there. Looks like Raiden is not going to be close enough to have a look, so we're just going to brake our normal braking zone. Raiden has had a look. He's managed to get it slowed down actually. That's very impressive driving from him. Going to give him just enough from the inside, go around the outside. We've retained our position. It looked like 3 people went off into the runoff there on the final corner, so we've gained 3 positions. We're up to 5th, just from very clean driving. Here we are then. Braked a little bit late. We're going to go around the outside. Didn't get it turned in quite enough. On the curb, not going to get the greatest traction, so it looks like Raiden might have a run on us after Eau Rouge. Doesn't look like he's had the greatest traction either, but we've definitely lost some time to Granu and Chicane ahead. I believe that's Chicane ahead. Oh no, Smuffler. Granu and Smuffler. We're going to give Raiden just enough room on the outside here. Looks like he's used a lot of curves to try and overtake. going to brake 25 metres before our braking point now. Usually brake at 50 metres, I braked at about 75 to 80. That's quite early. Raiden's clearly much more confident on the brakes than I am. Maybe changed his wings higher. But we've lost another position, we're down to 6th. Technically we've gained 2 positions as Raiden runs wide and everyone else runs wide. Might give us a run on Raiden. It looks like he's managed to get the traction just in time. There we are then, we're following Raiden through. A little bit sideways on the exit there. Nothing to worry about. So the problem with being behind Raiden now is that he has the advantage on the pit stops. So at this point I'm definitely trying to get back in front just so that I can have my own choice of pit stops. So we cut ahead then to the beginning of lap 3. Just skipped half a lap. Raiden seems to have pulled a slight gap and he's caught up to Granny. Doesn't look like there's anyone... oh no, there is someone right behind us, Fake Ghost Pirate. I think we're going to stay to the left, give him the inside. Yeah, there we are. If he wants to try and make a move, it doesn't look like he's going to. He's probably set his gear to sacrifice straight line speed. So we managed to get that turned in. He's very mature driving there from Fake Ghost Pirate. Which is... to be expected really, he's one of the most mature people in the league. It looks like Granny's got all out of shape there. Lost the position to Raiden, possibly to me as well. It doesn't look like he's got the inside. Oh, he braked far too late there. Gave me a little nudge. And then let off the power. Oh, I just looked back and Fake Ghost slams right into me. I was trying to keep it right on the right hand side because I had Granny on my left and the grass on the right. I was just trying to keep it in a straight line and then looked like there was no way around for Fake Ghost. Sorry about that, buddy. Didn't even realise you were there until I looked back. And I was going much slower than I should have been at that point, so couldn't really do much about that. But now we've got Chicane behind us. It looks like he's managed to overtake Granny and Fake Ghost and all that commotion. Chicane's got a great run. Raiden's still ahead of us, got the advantage on the pit stops, and we've gone into the gravel there. It's going to give Chicane a good run on us. He's quite far back, but I think he's going to manage to get to us just by the left-hand corner, which is, especially in these conditions, it's very difficult to go side by side. Where I'm going to cut it slightly to give him room on the outside. There we go, brilliant pass from Chicane. I'm going to brake my normal braking point, and he's braked very early, caught me off guard, and I've unfortunately panicked, locked up, and run him off. I feel absolutely awful about that incident. Ruined Chicane's race. He was having a very good race. I know he's good in wet conditions. He braked earlier than Granny on lap 1. He braked earlier than Raiden did on lap 2, and caught me off guard. I panicked a little bit, locked up. That's entirely my fault, really. Maybe a mix of both, but you know, I can only apologise. I think everything's fine between us now. I've apologised after the race, but I did ruin his race. My race, not so much. I did manage to get it turned around. I think he lost his wing and had to pit, so that's him right back to the pit straight. But we're in 8th. We're still ahead of Smuffler, who I believe had a similar issue to what I just had happen there on lap 2. So something like that. Smuffler behind us now on the wet tyres. We're in 8th. There's a big pack of, I think, Fake Ghost Pirate, Granu, Raiden, and I think Jack first up there. As you can see, going down sector 3 is Alex and Onage. Really close together, but we've skipped quite a few laps. We're on lap 7 here. I think this is where I'm going to pit. The suggested pit strategy was 7 laps, 8 laps. All, you know, wet, assuming that it stays wet. And I've got all out of shape on that corner. Sacrifice a lot of traction. Smuffler's going to get a great run on me here. I'm going to give him the inside. Just stay to the left.
Zephyr ramp is pitting.
Raiden just letting me know that he's pitting. But I'm going to be pitting as well, but it doesn't look like there's going to be too much of an issue because he is just going around the last corner now, so there should be plenty of time for the Codemasters pit crew to sort themselves out as I brake very early into that corner, learning my lesson from the chicane incident, and Smuffler doesn't pit. Maybe he's going for a one-stop. It did say in the pit strategy that the tyres wouldn't go any more than 9 laps. It came up with a little X when I put it anywhere past 9 laps, so I don't think one stop's possible. It's going to be losing a lot of time, but be interested to see how that works out. We pull into the pit stop. We lost maybe 2 or 3 seconds there, pitting straight after Raiden, but not a problem. As we come out of the pits, someone coming down the pit straight. I think it's Chicane. We're definitely going to be ahead of him. We get to cut the corner, and we're in 9th. We're behind Kifler. We're going to skip ahead to lap 10. It looks like whoever was behind me Chicane has pit and has dropped significantly far behind. Kifler, I think, has caught the group head and managed to overtake everyone. Or at least overtake Granu. Granu slipped down to 8th. But it definitely looks like we're catching up on the group ahead, and at this point of the race I was feeling very confident, having had my issue on lap 3. I thought my race was over, but at this point I'm thinking, look at that group, I'm catching them lap after lap. You know, in theory I could at least get 7th here with overtake those 2 cars, but then there's 4 cars right next to each other, just ahead of them, so, you know, it's definitely something to race for here. As I said in my qualifying commentary, I was very confident about this race. So here we are then, we're a 10th up on our previous lap. I believe this is a purple lap, actually. During this phase of the race I was feeling very confident. The rain started to ease off. The ground's still, you know, very slippery, very wet, definitely wet tyre conditions. At this point I was looking at the cars ahead and looking at the gap to Granu, and every sector was just getting smaller and smaller. I was very confident. Ran very wide there, but carried a lot of speed through it, hitting 172 as I hit the curve. You know, that's quicker than I believe. I think I was hit 169, 168 miles an hour when I hit that curve. I'm taking it in other kind of ways. So a very nice lap so far. So, obviously I'm on controller, you can hear a lot of wheel spin, but there were 6/10 we gained in that on middle sector on our previous lap. Gap to ground is now 3.3 seconds. Taking a very nice line around here. I've seen the purple up in the top corner and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to get a purple lap just to show the group ahead. Just have it come up on their screen, so I'm quick and catching them.
We'll just put in reverse.
Going to brake nice and late. Braking zone in dry conditions is about, you know, 100 meters, maybe 90, and I braked about 120 there. So definitely feeling very confident on these wet tyres. So we cross the line for a 154.6 purple lap. That's going to come up on the screen in front of everyone. Here we are, skipping half a lap, and we've managed to catch the gap to the group ahead, who's Smuffler now, who's been taken by Granu. Visibly close, it's probably about a second now. So that's 1 lap, we've managed to catch 2.5 seconds to the group ahead. Smuffler obviously has been struggling. He was in, I think, 4th or 3rd or something, when we all pit, because he was doing a 1-stop, so he gained a lot of positions. And then all of these people who pit have fresher tyres have caught up to him, because he's doing a 1-stop and he's looking to pit on this lap. At this point I assumed it was going to be for wet tyres because, you know, the ground's still shiny, it's still raining. At this point, in my mind, it's 0%, you know, conditions for winters. But, you know, some people will try it. He predicted he was going to pit. Let him through. I don't know what my driver's throwing his hand in the air about. I didn't make any contact. You can see Fake Ghost up in the top right corner there was pitting as well, so it looks like Smuffler's going to have to stack right in behind Fake Ghost, and that was a smaller gap than me and Raiden. That might cost him some time. As we skip ahead then to the end of lap 13. I was going to pit on lap 14, but Raiden is right ahead of me, just going through this corner ahead, and he wants to pit on lap 14, so I'm giving him that, and I'm going to pit on lap 13. And as I said, it's raining, the track is still shiny, it is 100% wet tyre weather in my opinion. So I put the wet tyres on. And I think, right, I'm going to use the wet tyres until the end of the race. We pit. Xephyr sets a new time, 2/10 quicker than my previous best, so he's clearly flying as well. We pit. It looks like someone's coming down the pit lane. It's Fake Ghost Pirate, who we saw pitting 2 laps ago. It looks like he's really struggled on whatever tyres he's put on, and he's lost a lot of time because he pit maybe from 2-3 seconds ahead of us. In theory, you get the undercut putting fresh tyres on, but it looks like it hasn't worked. So we're going to skip ahead now to the end of this lap. Raiden's going to pit, along with Granu, and I think Jack first. I can't remember. It might be Xephyr. So there's a group of 3 cars all pitting together.
Oh no, Winters. And
as you heard there, they're putting intermediate tyres on. At this point I'm thinking, you guys are crazy, look, the floor is still shiny. My wet tyres still feel absolutely perfect. I'm not locking up, I'm not sliding. These tyres feel perfect. And then this group of 3 cars comes out ahead of me on the intermediate tyres, and I'm sat here thinking, wow, after my lap 3 incident, I thought my race was over. Now I'm in 7th place behind 3 cars. I could get 4th place here. Because clearly these guys have come out on tyres that are wrong for their conditions. So, in theory we're going to breeze past, well, at least 2 cars this lap. Let's see what happens. So, we're 1.6 seconds behind. Xephyr doesn't look to be struggling too much. He doesn't look like he's sliding around or struggling for grip, which is really weird, considering you know, the conditions are clearly wet weather tyre conditions. Yeah, it really doesn't look like they're struggling for grip or traction. If anything, it felt like I was struggling for grip around that corner. Still got lots of spray coming off the tyres. 4 is still shiny and reflecting everything in front, like the trees, the signs and all that kind of stuff, which is a telltale sign of wet tyre weathers. And we're definitely not gaining. Maybe by a few tenths, but not by much. It looks like Kipler's had a bad corner, but the people ahead haven't. So that's just a mistake on Kipler's part, I think. And we've dipped a tyre in the gravel there. It's really unfortunate. Was going to try and attempt to pass down into the final corner. So even with that, we've still caught Kipler. So I think that's more of a mistake on his part. So it's not. At this point, I'm really confused as to whether it's inter-tyre weather or wet tyre weather. Because as I said, my tyres, they're absolutely fine. They feel like they're gripping, just fine at braking at normal braking zones. These guys, as you can see, are on the intermediate tyres. So what happened here is there was a huge amount of time, I think like 3 or 4, maybe 5 laps, where both the wet tyres and the intermediate tyres were both good. But at the end of that lap, we've skipped half a lap there, we're 2.3 seconds behind. We've dropped back a lot. So clearly, despite the fact that it looks like wet tyre weather, it's actually intermediate tyre weather now. Just slightly, maybe a second per lap. It's probably intermediate weather. So the cars ahead have done 2 stops. I could have put the intermediate tyres on lap 13, and it probably, from the looks of it, would have worked out, and I'd be right behind that pack, fighting for 4th. But unfortunately, we're going to have to do a 3rd pit stop. Put the intermediate tyres on because we made a bad choice. If I think Fate Ghost Pirate there's just flown past, and Smuffler flying past right now. So the 2 Saubers on their 1-stop strategies have only just managed to get ahead. So it looks like the 2-stop strategy was definitely the way to go. 1 stop, not the way to go at all. Smuffler sets a 153.8. I don't think they're going to be catching the group head though, so they're settled for 7th and 8th place. We've come out in 9th behind Smuffler, behind Fate Ghost, who are trying to do, I think, 10 laps on these intermediate tyres. It's achievable. I think they can go 8 or 9, but it's definitely achievable. They're going to lose some time at the end of the race. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We could have been racing for 4th, and we've come out behind the people doing 1 stop. We're going to skip ahead then all the way to the very last lap, and we've caught Smuffler. We're now 1.6 seconds behind. And as you can see, Fate Ghost Pirate is only just down the road. You can see him just going around the right-hander now, ducking behind the wall. And these guys, this is their 10th lap on these intermediate tyres. And I think I pitted on lap 16, so this is my 6th lap on these, so they're definitely feeling good. I've got minus 1 lap of fuel on the last lap. I'm going to have to run lean. Running standard here, I'm going to tick it over to lean, I think, for sector 2, and hope that it ticks over to optimal before the final sector, because I really don't want to be running lean. Down the back straight. The gap is 1.7 seconds, so we've actually lost a 10th of a second to Smuffer in the 1st sector. Sliding all the way through that right-hander. Going to try and brake nice and late. We really want to get 8th position at this point. Fuel's ticked over to optimal, which is absolutely brilliant. I think going down to Guan, I'll be switching it up to standard, I believe, if I've noticed. Yeah, there we go. Switching up to standard. And we're really trying to catch Smuffer now. We know that our tyres are 4 laps.
Oh my
4 laps fresher.
Right.
Sounds like there's a very close finish up ahead between Alex and Onage.
Ran out of fucking fuel.
It's a little bit frustrating when people talk while there's still people racing, but you know, I have seen Alex and Onage's finish, and it was spectacular, so I can't blame him whatsoever. We've closed the gap to Smuffler there in sector 2 by 0.7 seconds. Actually, we're by a second in this 1 sector, and we're getting the slipstream down this straight. I know his wings are at 4.4, I think. Ours are 1.1, so we can have a look down the inside. We actually braked quite early there, but the car isn't slowing down. Okay, we've tapped him slightly. We're going to give him room on the apex to say sorry, and then it's just a sprint to the finish. He's kind of pushing me a bit. Oh, look how close that was. It was. Look, Smuffler had a 10-second penalty, so it put him back to plus 1 minute. But in theory, that's plus 50 seconds, 0.257. So 0.03 of a second ahead of me. This penalty that he got wasn't a penalty, so it's been rescinded. So Smuffler does finish 8th, I finish 9th, in a race where I could have been fighting in the 4th to 7th place battle. So it's very disappointing for me. I could have been up there with my teammate, but all in all, I think I drove fairly well considering what happened, and I can only apologise to Chicane, whose race I ruined, as you can see there. You know, almost a minute behind the next car, Smuffler. So sorry to chicane. Hopefully there's no more issues in next races. The next race for this is going to be Monza, which will be coming up in a few days. Thank you for watching.